So the first step is selecting your wood, and I'm actually going to use this big piece of 1/4-inch underlayment. Awesome because it's cheap and it's perfect for shop projects like this. I'm going to use my table saw to break down this sheet of underlayment and get it to a more manageable size so I can cut everything to its final dimensions later. So from our little strip of underlayment, we're going to need to cut 10 pieces that are 9 inches long and 1.5 inches wide. Alright, so now that my fence is set for 1.5 inches, we can just slice up 9 of our 1.5 inch pieces. Alright, so I've got 11 pieces here that are 1.5 inches wide and 9 inches long. I cut a couple of extras just in case I mess up, but now let's cut the other pieces. And the next pieces that we need to cut are 14 1/4 by 9 inches. And you're going to need to cut 2 of those. So those 2 pieces that we just cut are going to be the top and the bottom of our little lathe tool holder. Now we'll just cut the back, and that'll be our last piece. And for the back, you're going to need 1 piece that's 15 inches long by 2 inches wide. Alright, so now we're ready for assembly. So just start gluing your 9 pieces on here, using another piece as a spacer between the next piece. And that'll give you a perfect square in between. Alright, so I got my first piece glued on there. I'm going to use this piece as a spacer between the next one. And we'll just apply just a little bit of wood glue onto there. Don't need very much. Just enough to stick it on there. Looks like it's about right. And I'll butt it up against this piece. Stick it down. And then pull your spacer out of there. And then just repeat that process along the entire thing. Alright, so I got my thing glued up, and there's a ton of glue on there because I've had some issues with the glue drying due to all the humidity, and as most of you probably know, there is a hurricane coming toward the East Coast, and that is making the air very humid, and my glue just will not dry on that humid, so I had to take it to the basement and add a bunch more glue, and that's why there's a bunch of squeeze out. And that's not going to matter. And I'm also going to say that my boards are not very square since they're so thin, and I had to re-glue it multiple times. That does not matter as long as all your lathe tools fit down in there. We're going to take our top piece, put some glue on the top of each one of the spacers, and glue that down. Just going to stick a little bit of glue on the top of each of these. So now I'm just going to glue that top on. And now we just gotta wait for the glue to dry. And now we can just stick some glue on this top piece here and glue the back on there. Again, none of my boards are straight. This plywood is very cheap and it's not really meant for this, but it's all I have and it's gonna work for what we're doing, so. And while that's drying, we can work on the pieces that are going to mount it to the wall. Now I would like to mount mine right here, and I'd like it to be coming out at about an angle, so that way it's easier to grab the tools and stuff. So I'm going to need to cut some special notches in a piece of like triangle, so it fits over this piece of trim that goes around the window. So I figured out the angle that I want my tool holder to be at, and that is a 20-degree angle, so now I'm just going to cut some pieces of 3/4 inch plywood at a 20-degree angle, and then I'll cut the notch for the door or the window trim. Just cut out two of these little support pieces here, cut out a notch in the corner for the window frame, and those are just going to sit like this, and then my lathe tool holder will mount to the front of these. Alright guys, so the top is dry, and I have sanded this thing very thoroughly with my random orbit sander, as you can see by all this exposed plywood, and now I'm going to give it a coat of paint, just to hide all that and make it look so much better. I just really wanted to sand it real nice, make it nice and smooth, but luckily it's very square and it fits all my tools. So let's paint it and then we'll mount it up on the wall. Alright, now we'll just let that paint dry, and we'll come back in the morning and paint the other side. So I'm going to epoxy these back pieces on here like this, and in order to do that, I'm going to have to remove the paint on here so the epoxy will stick. So I'm just going to stick some epoxy on here. That way I can kind of keep working and not have to wait for wood glue to dry. I suppose that I could put some screws up like this, but I'm pretty lazy to do that, and I feel like glue is just going to be a better option here. So just stick some epoxy on there like that, and then I'll just put a little bead of wood glue in there like this. And that'll hold it just fine. Alright, now we just got to wait like 5 minutes for that epoxy to dry. Alright, so I got some pocket screws drilled on each one of my little support pieces. Now we can just tack it into the wall. So that's what it looks like with all the tools in there. It works really well. They all fit in there very nicely. I love that it's painted black. It looks really, really nice. And it's very, very solid on the wall since I screwed into the studs. So guys, thanks for watching. That's about it. Project turned out really well. It's going to be very, very useful in my shop. If you really like the video, be sure to click that like button and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any more videos from me. I'll be posting another new and informative woodworking video next week. Bye, guys.